Hello everybody, Maven here, and the Edge of Fate is only a month away, and we recently got the artifact revealed to us, so we know the season's going to be based around solar stasis in Strand. In the last video, I went over the top 3 solar builds to bring into the Edge of Fate that are going to be juiced up by the new artifact mods, and I'll link that video up above and down below, and also in the pinned comment if you'd like to go and check it out and see the solar builds. But today is Stasis Day. We're going to do the same thing for Stasis, and in the next video, we're going to do the same thing for Strand. So if you are new here, and if that sounds like a good time to you, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Do not miss out. That next video is going to be on the way pretty soon. But anyways, I will leave timestamps down below to all 3 of today's builds if you'd like to skip around to your character of choice. And now let's break down some Stasis builds. Hope you enjoy. Shout out to our sponsor, Advanced GG, the #1 gaming supplement in the world. Use code MAVEN at checkout for 10% off. Link down below. Thank you. Now, last time we kicked things off with the Titan, but today we're going to kick it off with the Hunter, because this one is by far the best of the 3. This is a Mask of Fealty build, which I covered on the channel before, back when Tanasha's Mastery came out. And the theme of this build is that Tanasha's plus Mask of Fealty straight up equals infinite ability spam. This is one of the spammiest builds in the game, and if you do ever happen to run out of abilities, it's only for like 2 seconds tops. Like, it seriously does not stop spamming, and it is one of the funnest builds probably ever. I cannot even begin to stress how underused this build is in the Destiny 2 meta, and if any build can possibly make me take a break from maining Titan, it's got to be this one. So enough of my sugarcoating, let's talk about it. So first off, the Mask of Fealty is the exotic that makes your Stasis Shurikens create a Stasis Crystal on impact, and if you throw it at a frozen target, it splits off into more Shurikens and then veers off to create more Stasis Crystals. Now, this exotic is not absolutely necessary to run. You can get away with running any other Hunter exotic, such as Aeons or whatever, but despite not using Whisper of Shards, I still found a lot of value in the Stasis Crystals this exotic creates, just because it juices up our damage and add clear potential. So with that out of the way, let's talk about some new artifact mods. Now, Shield Crush is going to be the main new artifact mod in Edge of Fate that this build is going to get buffed by. It says that while you have Frost Armor, your melee recharges quicker and deals increased damage, and as you can probably tell by the gameplay, Shuriken spam is already something we're doing non-stop, so Shield Crush is just going to push it overboard. And the next new artifact mod to talk about is Refresh Threads, which says picking up an elemental pickup, in this case a Stasis Shard, gives you energy for your least charged ability. And at the rate we're creating Stasis Shards, this mod is going to be immensely absurd, to say the least. So first off, we got Grim Harvest. So whenever we defeat a slowed or frozen target, it makes 2 Stasis Shards. And this is the reason why Tanasha's Mastery is our weapon of choice, because it has chill clip. So every kill is guaranteed to proc Grim Harvest pretty much. Next, we got these 2 fragments here, Whisper of Chill and Whisper of Chains, and both of these mods work in exactly the same way, except Chill only procs on weapon final blows and Chains works on any final blows. So it says that final blows have a chance to create a Stasis Shard, but that's BS, and I hope Bungie reiterates the way these fragments are displayed on the HUD, such as what they did with the overhaul to the new ammo meter system. So this quote-unquote chance it speaks of is not actually a chance. And here's a little snippet of how it actually works. So there's essentially an invisible progress bar, in which minor combatants grant 34% progress, elites grant 67% progress, and anything beyond that gives you a guaranteed progress towards creating a Stasis Shard. It racks up. When you fill that meter, a shard will spawn, and both of these are proccing simultaneously. And then to add insult to injury, we got another new artifact mod called Elemental Coalescence, which pretty much does the same thing as those 2 fragments do. Final blows rack up this invisible meter that will end up spawning Stasis Shards. So what happens is that Tanasha's Mastery can basically make 5 shards in 1 kill, which is absolutely insane. The rate at which we're making Stasis Shards with this build is just stupid. And that's why Refresh Threads is going to be extremely good here, because we're making like multiple Stasis Shards per final blow. And to go further beyond that, Whisper of Hunger is boosting the amount of melee energy gained by these Stasis Shards, and then they're all funneling into us with Whisper of Conduction, just feeding us copious amounts of melee energy and other ability energy with Refresh Threads. And on top of all these shards, we can also get melee charges back via Gambler's Dodge, and we can spam infinite Gambler's Dodges pretty much because of 2 things in particular: Winter Shroud and Whisper of Refraction. So Refraction, self-explanatory, you get dodge energy back for defeating a slowed or frozen target. And this build slows or freezes literally everything it touches, as you can probably tell. No enemy goes unslowed or unfrozen. And then Winter Shroud creates a slowing burst when we dodge, but additionally, it boosts your dodge regenerate by 300% whenever you slow a target. And with this build, that's basically going to be active 100% of the time. These two things resulted in pretty much infinite dodges, therefore refunding entire shuriken charges on top of the already ridiculous stasis shard spam. So the result of everything we went over in the past 2 minutes is just infinite ability spam, but even more so with the 2 new artifact mods, on top of the damage of the shurikens being buffed by Shield Crush. I'm telling you, this is one of the strongest stasis builds in the game, one of the most underrated, underplayed builds ever. People say stasis ain't in a good spot, but I mean it when I say these things. This build goes hard. It's so much fun. Give it a try if you're a Hunter main, and even if you're not a Hunter main, hop on Hunter and give this a try. Trust me, you'll be hooked. But anyways, we're not done breaking down the build. We still got a couple more things to talk about. So here's our mod setup, the main point of it being the infinite special ammo setup with charged up, stacks on stacks, special finisher, and elemental charge is going to be crazy at the rate we're making stasis shards. And then we can make orbs with double heavy-handed on our gloves. And recuperation on the boots is our main way that this build survives. At the rate we spam dodges, we can constantly proc recuperation via powerful attraction on our boots and just get our health back. And if you wanted to play it safe and make more orbs for that, you can just replace Outreach in your class item with a Reaper. And if you're doing tougher content, you might want to consider that. And for our loadout, Tanasha's Mastery with Chill Clip is the only thing that really matters here. And for the energy slot, I'd recommend a Solar Scout or Pulse for anti-barrier. And then your stasis shenanigans alone can deal with overloads and unstops. And then in the heavy slot, it doesn't matter, but just run something good for DPS. I'm using a grenade launcher, the Versus Chill Inhibitor. And no, it is not solar, but I'd recommend running something solar if possible. And the main reason why is because of the Cauterized Darkness artifact mod. This is non-boss combatants take increased damage from solar sources, as long as they're affected by a stasis debuff. So you can just slow them with a Shuriken, a Dusk Field, Tanashas, or just pop your super, and then go to town with a solar source and just get that free bonus damage. And that's going to do it for our Hunter build today. Once again, I'm very proud of this one. Give it a try. You won't be disappointed. And now, moving on to our Warlock build of the day, and this is going to be the classic Rhymecoat Raymond build with, you guessed it, Icebreaker. Classic combo, they're 2 peas in a pod that work so well together as if they were meant for each other. Rhymecoat turns your basic Bleach Watchers into stasis fortresses that spawn these stasis crystals around it, and that is excellent because of Whisper of Shards, which massively boosts your grenade regenerate when you break a stasis crystal, so you can spam more Bleak Watchers and repeat the loop and always have a Bleak Watcher on the battlefield, guaranteed. And this is why I much prefer Rhymecoat on stasis instead of prismatic, because Whisper of Shards alone is just everything for this build. Additionally, what Rhymecoat does is, while you are in the vicinity of your Bleak Watcher, you get this perk on the left side of your screen called Bleak Domain. So it periodically loads in these freezing rounds that are sent out as you shoot targets with your weapons, and it generates a considerate amount of slow stacks. It only takes 2 shots of this to completely freeze the target, which allows you to do incredible damage no matter what you shoot them with. And that's what makes this an excellent build for tougher content all the way up to Grandmasters, because as long as you chill back in that Bleak Domain, you're freezing everything you shoot at and totally wrecking them. Unless it's a boss, of course, in which case they can't be frozen. Anyway, pairing this build along with the Icebreaker, so it has this perk here, and the TLDR is that this sniper has infinite ammo, straight up. No beating around the bush, it simply has infinite ammo, and it's awesome. But the main reason it's good on stasis is because it has this perk here, which says shooting a frozen target causes a solar ignition. And this pairs extremely well with Cauterized Darkness, the mod we just talked about on Hunter, that boosts all your solar damage against non-boss enemies affected by darkness debuffs like slow or freeze, which your Bleak Watchers are providing for us constantly. And it's already the slowest firing, hardest hitting sniper archetype as it is, 72 RPM, but with Cauterized Darkness added, it starts to get a little ridiculous. So all in one motion, you dome them with that crit for free because they're frozen, and then get the shatter damage and then the ignition damage. So 3 things are happening all at once, and it hits like a freight train. It hits stupidly hard, and for having infinite ammo, that's pretty insane. And it pairs well with Bleak Watchers, obviously, because that freezes everything for you, so you just chill back, take your time, and start popping free headshots and everything. Piece of cake built to use. It's so free. And the theme of freezing and doming is the reason why we have Ice Flare Bolts as our other aspect, because when you shatter a frozen target, it creates this cold snap that travels and freezes another target, but can also travel back around and freeze the same target if they happen to have survived the shot. And this synergy is too good to pass up, but also means we cannot run Glacial Harvest, which creates 2 stasis shards whenever we freeze something. And don't get me wrong, having all that frost armor would be nice, but the payoff of Ice Flare bolts is just far too good to pass up on. And unfortunately, a lot of our new Edge of Fate stasis artifact mods are based off of frost armor, so a lot of them will be tougher to use without Glacial Harvest. But that doesn't exactly mean they'll be impossible to use, because we do have a new artifact mod called Fever and Chill to attempt to remedy that issue. It says that rapid precision hits with a stasis weapon will grant frost armor. And that's why I'm using a rapid fire auto rifle, the Veiled Threat, with attrition orbs and headstone, because it's arguably the most consistent archetype to hit rapid crits with. It may not be the hardest hitting thing on its own, but the orb generation is really nice, and anything within the bleak domain will hit like a truck, so it really doesn't matter what you run. So Fever and Chill is going to be our source of frost armor, and that's going to enable a lot of our other artifact mods, such as Frost Renewal to create a freezing burst whenever we get into critical health, Frigid Glare to create a freezing burst like Aegir Scepter whenever we get a stasis precision final blow, and one with Frost to increase our reload and stability, and of course Shield Crush, which we just talked about earlier, so we'll have boosted melee damage and regenerate. And all those things are enabled just by spamming crits with our auto rifle. And I know I'm not using the auto rifle much in the gameplay because I'm trying to show off the icebreaker, but I'm just saying that the option is there. So anyways, let's finish breaking down the build. So here's what our subclass is looking like. We got Torment for more innate energy, Refraction for rift spam, and Bonds to create orbs when defeating frozen targets. And onto our mod setup, it's pretty loose and there's room for creative freedom here, but this is just what worked out for me. I'm kind of banking off of making those orbs with Bonds, Reaper, and Siphons, and just proccing our boot mods so I can try to spam rifts and bomber as much as I can. My ultimate goal with this setup is just to have as many rifts to put up in those bleak domains as possible so we can just camp there with our sniper and primary. And for our loadout, this is what it's looking like. Once again, I'm running the Versus Chill inhibitor for DPS, but you can run something solar if you wanted to synergize with Cauterized Darkness. And for your primary, again, just run something stasis that's good at hitting rapid crits. I'd recommend the Veiled Threat with Attrition Orbs and Headstone. Pair that along with Flared Magwell, a Reload Masterwork, Tactical mod, and a Loader mod, and it's feeling really good. You want that mag size as small as possible so Attrition Orbs procs faster, and just dump all those stats into reload speed if you can. But remember that the Stasis subclass already deals with overloads and unstops, so if you need to deal with barriers, just take off the Veiled Threat and put on the Red Tape, which is my personal favorite Stasis scout. It can get Attrition Orbs and Explosive Payload, which is a pretty awesome roll. Demo Explosive Payload is also really great too. But yeah, that's it for the Stasis Warlock build. By far the easiest build of the day to use. Very noob friendly and hits like a truck. Can't go wrong. But now we are finally on to the Titan, and this one is a lot more of a doozy. And this is going to be a hot take, or in this case a cold take, and I may trigger some people, but I don't think Stasis Titan is very good. I think Stasis Titan needs a lot of help. It's in dire need of something like a new aspect, a couple new fragments, some reworks, maybe a new exotic, because it doesn't have as much going for it as Hunter and Warlock do. Now, everything in me wanted to tell you to go with the Cadmus Ridge Landscap with Wicked Implement. That is what I consider the strongest Stasis Titan combo for endgame play, for the more difficult content, because it generates a constant flow of diamond lances and it allows for a very strong gameplay loop. But the problem is that that Titan exotic is very slow-paced exotic. You gotta play slow and chill behind a barricade in order to use it. You gotta set up shop somewhere, and the payoff is nowhere near as high as the Rhymecoat Raiment Warlock. So I personally feel it's pretty niche and not very worth it. At least in the kind of content we'll be doing at the start of the season. Grandmasters are not around for the first month and a half of a new expansion, and nobody does master content for like the first few weeks. We'll all start off expansions doing the campaign, helping our friends do the campaign, grinding for god rolls and seasonal content, yada yada. My point is that we do faster paced movement based content at the start of a new season, so I don't feel that the Cadmus Ridge Landscape will really have a place for a while. So I had to go back to the drawing board and think of a different Titan exotic to use. Coil ain't what it used to be, so I ultimately landed on the Icefall Mantle. Now you can stick with the safe Precious Scars or Stronghold if you're really concerned with survival, but I went the aggro route with this one. This is my first time actually using the Icefall Mantle ever since its big overhaul. So here's what it does. Rapid Stasis Final Blows grant Frost Armor. You heal 10 HP whenever you gain a stack of Frost Armor, and of course it also replaces your Barricade with that macho looking ability that freezes nearby enemies and grants you max stacks of Frost Armor. And since we got Whisper of Rime, we can hold up to 8 stacks of Frost Armor and increase their duration to 13 seconds. So popping our Icefall Mantle thing will instantly grant 8 stacks of Frost Armor and heal 80 HP. And even if we already have max stacks of Frost Armor, and even if we won't be gaining any further stacks, the game will still count each instance that would give you Frost Armor as though you were gaining it, meaning that you would still heal that 10 HP per stack with your Icefall. And not only do multi-kills with the Icefall grant those stacks, but we also have Tectonic Harvest that makes stasis shards whenever we shatter a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target, and that's what our glacial grenades are for. So the point of this build is that you're just flying around with a chill clip rake angle glaive and diamond lances, constantly trying to freeze and shatter everything and keep gaining Frost Armor so we can keep healing with our Icefall. That's the plan. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I'm an aggressive player and this is more suitable to my personal playstyle. And if you wanted to take it slow, you can just chill back and play it safe with a Tenacious Mastery, Vergalus Curve, Wicked Implement, or Aegir Scepter, and just try to free stuff and or make stasis crystals that way. Maybe run the Precious Scars. Anyways, let's break down the build. So here's what our subclass is looking like. Tectonic Harvest, Diamond Lance, Shards and Torment for innate energy, Rime for Frost Armor, Bonds for Orbs, and Refraction for Icefall Mantle spam. And for our mod setup, it's geared towards spamming special ammo finishers so we can have that infinite ammo for our rake angle. So it has the same general setup as our Hunter build, with charged up stacks on stacks, elemental charge, and special finisher, and we can make orbs via Reaper, Bonds, and Siphon, and we can just spam those special finishers whenever we get the chance. For our chill clip rake angle, which has overflow chill clip, so performing that special finisher will cause it to overflow to 18 in the mag, given you got extended mag on it, so hopefully you farm for the god roll when it was available. I also considered running the Winter Bite, but the chill clip spam is just far better at freezing stuff constantly, and that's what mattered for our Tectonic Harvest. And your energy and heavy slot don't really matter. I just threw on the explosive Rolling Storm Pally because I figured I would grab a stack of Bolt Charge before going on a rampage with my glaive, so it will occasionally give me that free lightning strike. And then in the heavy slot, I just threw on a random Salvation Script because it synergizes with Frost Armor and Icefall. I don't even have the Catalyst leveled up on it yet, and I'm pretty unsure about this thing, especially since we don't have Cryoclasm or a Wave Frame Grenade Launcher to pair along with it, but I would consider running something like the Anarchy to build our Bolt Charge stacks once we get that going with the Pally. Or you can just go all in on solar weapons in your energy and heavy slots, such as the Dragon's Breath rocket launcher, to once again synergize with that Cauterized Darkness artifact mod. Your choice. And that's going to do it for our Titan build today. It's a strong build, but again, it was just kind of a throw together of the bunch. Like, the Hunter and Warlock builds are legit, actual strong builds. And this one was like, this looks good, let's throw them together. Yeah, that's a build. Again, you can run other things like Precious Scars, Cadmus Ridge, etc. But for the start of a season, I feel opting for the faster paced, aggressive route like this will do you a lot more good. But anyways, what was your favorite build of the day? Let me know in the comments, and as always, I'll leave the dim loadout links to all 3 of these builds in the description and also the pinned comment if you'd like to give any of them a try. And if you got anybody who you think might benefit from having these builds as well, I'd appreciate if you consider sharing the video with them. And as I said in the last video, we didn't go over the stats for these builds, as the stat system is getting a huge overhaul in the Edge of Fate, so that remains to be seen. So just improvise there. Just get the subclass loadouts and mods ready, and you should be good to go when the new season comes out. So good luck. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit the like button, as it helps out a ton. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. Would love to have you here for more Edge of Fate content on the way. In the next video, we'll be doing the same thing except for some Strand builds, because we will be getting Strand artifact mods in the Edge of Fate as well. So look forward to that. Hope to see you guys there, and I hope you have a nice day. Peace.